Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. This is Tony Butler with Insurance Agency Marketing Services. I am the Life Sales Director here, and I want to thank you guys for joining the webinar just a couple of days before Christmas. Today's webinar, we have Alan Miller, who is a Regional Marketing Director with Lincoln Financial, and we're going to be talking about the Lincoln Financial MoneyGuard and building more revenue for you as an agent for long-term care. Before we get started um, talking about that, there's a couple of, or a few housekeeping items that just want to go over with everyone real quick. First and foremost, if you're a writing agent and you write a lot of business, I'm sure you know that referrals is a big part of the business, and they're a big part of our business as well. So what we like to do is reward you as the agent for referring any agents to Insurance Agency Marketing Services. And if you refer an agent to us and they do get appointed with one of the carriers that we work with, we do provide you with a $50 referral bonus for each and every agent that you refer and they get appointed. In addition to that, if those agents do write business with those carriers that they've gotten appointed with, we do provide you with 20 basis points on that business. It doesn't take away their commissions on their business. It just provides you with a little thank you for not only referring an agent to us, but referring an agent that writes business. If you have any questions regarding our referred producer program bonus, please don't hesitate to give me a call. Next, we also have the new producers builders that we like to provide our new producers with incentives as far as writing business. A new producer is someone that's gotten appointed and its first 180 days. What we like to do is provide you with some incentives for the business that you submit. So there's three different levels. There's a $100,000, $300,000, and $500,000 level. Depending on which level you want to achieve, there's different bonuses that you can receive. So for the $100,000, you can get a $750 cash bonus, 2-year producer website, or an iPad. If you want to bypass the $100,000 and shoot for the $300,000, if you achieve that, you have a choice between the Social Security program and a 3,000 piece mailing, or you can get $2,000 in marketing reimbursement dollars, or you can elect to get the $1,500 gift card. If you want to bypass those two levels and shoot for the $500,000 level, if you do achieve that, you can get either a 5,000 piece mailing and seminar coaching with Matt Gill, who is one of our top producers, or you can get a 4,000 piece mailing and seminar coaching with Dave Pimper, who is also one of our top producers. You can bypass those two if you want and treat yourself to a nice little vacation with a Ritz-Carlton travel package. So if you have any additional questions regarding our new Producers Builders program, again, give me a call. Now here at IAMS, we do provide you, the agent, with back office support. We like to tell you that we like to help you work smarter, not harder. So with that help, we do provide you with paperless contracting, top sales expertise and coaching. We can assist you with case designs. We work with you from submission to commissions on all the cases that you do submit. So I would say that our back office is probably second to none in the industry. If you have any questions on what we do provide as far as back office support, again, give us a call. We also have a creative marketing solutions team. Our creative marketing solution teams helps you as an agent with either turnkey agency or digital solutions. What that means is they can help you with professionally written handouts, flyers, newsletter, or postcards. We can also help you with logo designs. If you're looking to redesign your logo or you're looking for a logo for your business, we can help you with that. We can help you with business cards and brochures, stationery and advertising. We can also help you on the digital side of things as far as personal website assistance, digital marketing strategies, social media consulting, email marketing consulting, and online newsletters. If any of this does interest you, please give us a call. Ask for our Creative Marketing Solutions department, and one of those guys will provide you with additional details. We also have a 24/7 website that's available for you. That website offers excellent sales tools. From a life aspect of it, you have the ability to run term and guaranteed universal life quotes. We're in the process of adding indexed universal life to that format. You can access forms online. For you annuity agents, there is current annuity news that's available to you, annuity grid, and there's also a long-term care product grid. So we've got an extensive resource library available to you, and that website is www.iamsinc.com. We do provide agents with a retirement analyzer. Now we provide this to you on a 30-day free trial basis. And what the retirement analyzer does is it answers a series of questions for your clients, such as, can I continue my present standard of living into my retirement years? When can I retire without running out of money? How would it affect my family if I were to die prematurely? If you go beyond the 30-day free trial period, there is a cost for the analyzer. If you are an annuity or a single premium life producer and you produce at least $250,000 of premium, that retirement analyzer is still available for you free of charge. Marcus Solar is one of our annuity sales directors, and he is the subject matter expert on the retirement analyzer. So if you have questions regarding the retirement analyzer, please give us a call. Ask for Marcus. He'd be more than happy to help you with that. We also have an IAMS Wealth Management team. The IAMS Wealth Management team consists of Mike Hansen, Joan Wallace, and Charles Jr. The Wealth Management team helps you work with your higher net worth clients with more investment assets. I would say if you're looking to increase your revenue, improve client retention, or strengthen client relationships, please give the Wealth Management team a call. They'd be more than happy to answer any questions you have, provide you with some more information. I do have a polling question in regards to our IAMS Wealth Management team. So if you'd like to get additional information, I'm going to launch this polling question. If you could just answer that, be sure to have them get some more information out to you. I'll leave this up for a few more seconds. Looks like we got a lot of people that are responding to that. Okay. So we'll go ahead and close that down. This next slide is in regards to our Life and Annuity Academy. We try to do this at least once a quarter. It's a 2-day training that we pay for you. So that means we pay for your trip to get to the academy. We pay for your lodging and your food. What this 2-day training includes is sales ideas and strategies from our top producers. We talk about annuity industry, threats and trends. We talk about large life case designs. A lot of times we will partner with one of our top carriers, and they will co-host that and go over some of their top products. So if you're interested in the Life and Annuity Academy, I would say please give us a call. We provide you with some additional information on that. For the 2020 dates and locations, I think we're finalizing one here in the spring. So once that becomes available, we'll definitely get that information out to you. Trips. We do have a few trips that are in the books or finalized for you as the agent to attend. First, we have the IAMS and Athene 2020 Marketing Summit. That is going to be August 26th through the 29th. The invitational period is July 1st of this year. through June 30th of 2020. We also have the Paradise on the Pacific, Dimes Marketing Summit for 2021. That's going to be in Puerto Vallarta. As you see, qualification requirements are 3.5 million. Excuse me. The dates for that is going to be March 7th through the 11th, 2021. The qualification period for this trip is going to be July 1st of 2019 through December 31st of 2020. And then we have the Shores of Serenity IAMS Elite Summit, which is going to take place in 2021. That is in Punta Mita Elite. That trip dates are going to be March 11th through the 14th. Qualification periods are the same time period, July 1st through December 31st of 2020. So it's July 1st of 2019 through December 31st of 2020. 6.5 million will get you that. 8.5 million will get you both trips. If you have any questions regarding the trips, please don't hesitate to give us a call. So with that, Alan, you there?
Tony, I am here.
Okay. Alan, I am going to switch this over to you.
And Tony, if you just confirm when the screen is up on your computer?
Will do. Hang on just a second. Okay. I've got your screen up.
Beautiful. Well, Tony, again, thank you for the invitation to join your call here this morning. We are thrilled to be a partner with you and IAMS. I'm going to cover a few slides here that will, I believe, make a difference in the agent's business, looking at the from long-term care perspective. And the big takeaway, hopefully everyone will get out of today's presentation, is the fact that the real product that you look at when you think about long-term care, and it's to start the conversation, to get the conversation going. It is certainly not an easy one, perhaps, to engage someone in talking about what long-term care might be or could represent as a financial risk to them in retirement. But the reality is the challenge, the financial challenge, is significant. And you probably see this in your retirement analysis software. And you know, the one component that I continually hear from people who have done long-term care planning is the fact that it's a family conversation. That when you think of someone who's had long-term care event, a client of yours, perhaps a family member, it really now becomes the caregivers that are focused in. And that's a whole different market segment to realize for growing your business in the long-term care planning area, to complete financial planning. And I'm not going to go through each one of these bullet points. The takeaway here is it's a second job to have someone in long-term care. It takes a lot of time. There's a lot of emotion invested into it. And so as you, as a producer, an agent, a financial advisor, if you can help remove that financial risk off the table for the caregiver, for the surviving spouse, you are now entering into an area that gives you a unique competitive advantage, because families want to know, how are we going to deal with long-term care? And where everyone seems to gravitate to is, well, you know, I'm looking at the options, and isn't that what Medicare will be there for me? Isn't that what Medicaid will do? And you can easily talk through that Medicare is a short-term solution. That Medicaid is basically for those that have do not have the financial means. And you're probably, you know, aware of these things. I'm just reinforcing what I've seen as far as when you start the conversation, what the minds of consumers go through is to say, well, aren't I covered? Oh, I'm covered. Well, wait a minute. That's what my family is there for. And the statistics show, one, they have no idea about long-term care or how to care. The statistics show 1 in 2, a household that reaches age of 65, 1 in 2 will have some kind of long-term care event. So if you stop for a moment and just think about starting the conversation to say, you know what, let's close our eyes, imagine for a moment we pull the fire alarm and dad has a bad spill, a broken hip, a stroke, whatever affliction may be. How are you going as a family? How are you as a family going to work with that? And now it just surfaces, you know, I hadn't thought of it, and you've pointed out some good options. You may get the response, well, that'll never happen to me or mom or dad. The reality is the older you get, the more frail you become. It will happen again to 1 in 2 spouses, one of the spouses in a household. And so people now start gravitating to, well, okay, what are the options? And they've typically looked at traditional long-term care, but more and more people, families are looking at the hybrid long-term care insurance solution, which is in many circles, people recognize the MoneyGuard name because we've been around for 31 years providing this. And what I'm going to do is just kind of walk through a little compare and contrast, but I thought it was really important to start with the real product, the real solution that you can bring to your clients, but more importantly, the family, and that is get the conversation started. And then we'll circle back here in a little bit and give you maybe a best practice on how to get that conversation started. So I'm just going to do a little review of Lincoln's MoneyGuard solution by first looking at why MoneyGuard 31 years ago came in existence, because most of the market was looking at traditional long-term care insurance. We wanted to provide a better way, a way of dealing with maybe is not the strengths of traditional long-term care, and that is it's like your homeowner's insurance or auto insurance. It's use it or lose it. There can be premium increases, and if you've been involved in this or you've read news articles on long-term care planning, this has been a real issue for many people who have bought traditional, and that they've had several premium increases. In fact, I hear the stories of agents' client who's now 83, and they are just saying, I can't afford the premiums anymore. Unfortunately, that's the time you really need that type of coverage. So, the rent-it type approach has been good. It serves the market, and it still does. Any long-term care planning is valuable. Traditional is great, but where we're finding a lot of people are looking at this for their financial planning is to say, okay, if I don't have to have a elimination period, a waiting period, then I know I can go to this bucket. I own it. My guarantees are there. My premiums will never go up. And that's what is known as the hybrid long-term care policy, the asset-based coverage, the insured savings-based coverage, however you might want to call it. A lot of people like to just reference it as the MoneyGuard type policy. But where you're really starting this conversation is someone that says, I can self-insure, right? So we go back to that earlier slide. Medicare is not going to cover it for the long term. Medicaid doesn't fit you because of your financial well-being. Inactivity basically gives you a self-insured plan. And that's where the conversation starts for many people is, well, I'm planning on just using my assets. Is there a better way? Well, a smarter alternative to you just having money set aside for a rainy day is to build a long-term care plan that protects all of this great financial planning that's being done to give you tax-free distributions for the purposes of paying for long-term care. And
Alan,
qualified long-term care, yes.
I'm sorry for interrupting. Can you go to a full screen on your current slide because it's showing the next slide as well?
Oh, my apologies. Okay, Tony, I'm trying to get to it.
I mean, if you can't, that's fine, but it's just showing the next slide over on the right.
Okay. Let's take a quick moment here. And I'm trying to, I don't want to click on the, and maybe.
Well, if you can't, that's fine.
For some reason, I've lost the mouse on.
That's okay. Just
Yeah.
continue.
So,
no worries.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I apologize for that. So, back to the concept of asset-based coverage, you have a quick look at what, the concept is with the linked benefit coverage. And that is, you're talking about what funds do we want to transfer from cash, other investments, perhaps an old life insurance policy. We do accept the 1035, and immediately that those funds come over, either in a lump sum or a flex pay. And I'll talk about the flex pay options here in a moment. But you're really giving them the visual of a left pocket to right pocket type approach, where the funds that come over are serving for the planning purposes of specifically creating the largest bucket of long-term care. What we put in immediately creates that bucket. The beauty of a hybrid product is the fact that you have, okay, now I got this yellow thing here, is that you have the death benefit bucket, right? So in a hybrid product, you have first the bucket to pay for long-term care in the event of long-term care needs. But if you don't use it, and this is where, again, you go back to the family conversation, it comes out in a tax-free death benefit. Alan and Karen Miller each buy a policy. They have their buckets of money for long-term care. Alan dies, Karen gets a tax-free death benefit. Karen dies, Alan gets a tax-free death benefit. We also have a third bucket, which is a return of premium. You can get 100% of premium returned, or you could have 70%. The trade-off is the more liquidity you want built into the MoneyGuard type policy, then the lower your long-term care bucket is. And a lot of you may be already familiar with this type of structure, but the approach is to say you own it. Here's the three buckets you own. You can use one of the three. Historically, we have not seen much use of the return of premium. Once people have this coverage, they cherish it, they recognize its value, and they keep it in place. So that's a nice visual of, again, what a family conversation might entail, as opposed to self-insuring. What do we have for a long-term care plan? And in many people's minds, they basically state, I've not seen this before. I like this approach. As you may know, it's built off of a life insurance chassis. We do this from a standpoint of using a guaranteed universal life policy where all values are guaranteed. It's simplified underwriting for us to get the policy issued. So now the question becomes, how do I really get the conversation started? And I'm just going to show you the asset identifier that you can incorporate into your own retirement and analyzer, legal notepad, or you can get this in a writable PDF where you look at this. What you're doing is helping them understand what their self-insured plan is all about. So you can walk through those blue the blue fields there, and you can customize it, and you can say, okay, we want to sit down and we want to talk about what are the costs of long-term care. And so I highlighted in the top third section there, the source of above costs. You can go to many sites that will give you the cost of what long-term care are. The longtermcare.gov is a great site, one, because it's the government and it's an independent view of it. And you're basically filling out what does it cost for home health care, assisted living, or nursing home. Okay, so let's take it one step further. We went to longtermcare.gov. We found out that through longtermcare.gov, home health care, where everybody wants to focus and wants that type of care, and the reality is that's where care does start, is at the home. And again, with no elimination, no waiting period, you're immediately getting access to that money at the time they need it. And so what you want to do when you're starting the conversation is, one, recognize what are the costs. The costs today for home health care are $52,000. When might you have a claim? Well, at Lincoln, in our 31 years of providing this type of coverage, age 80 is a good age to start looking at. Our average age is 83, but what do you need at age 80 to have self-insured for long-term care? That amount is projected through longtermcare.gov to be $97,740 or $81.45. How many years might I need that? I'm putting in 5 years here, and I'll show an example of what the art might be behind the science of what it's going to cost. The point of this, though, is this is a tool that you can use to help them recognize, here's my plan. My plan is if one of us in our household have long-term care, we're going to need $97,000 for home health care. We can look at nursing home, as you see the third one, but that's a very large number and maybe too much for some people to possibly get coverage that they might want or can afford. But start with the home health care. And then what we do is we reverse engineer on what do you have to put in today based on your age, either in monthly or annual contributions or a combination of a lump sum and annual payments to have guaranteed at age 80 this $97,740 for 5 years. So the plan is, what do you need? Here's what we need to do today to have that in place, guaranteed. Don't worry about any more premiums to be put in. And now what you have them doing is thinking from self-insuring, do I have a better plan? And that better plan would be the concept of leverage, where dollars I put in today are being leveraged for dollars that I can use that would be very difficult for me to get that type of money, $97,000 of tax-free money coming out each and every year. And I mentioned why 5 years. Here is the American Association of Long-Term Care Insurance Sourcebook that shows someone who goes into claim at age 75 to 84, 90% of the time, they're out of claim before they start their 6th year. So within 5 years, 90% of the time, you're done with your long-term care. So it's really the concept of how do I put the least amount of capital in to give me the highest probability of using long-term care from day one, which you have with no elimination, to perhaps 5 years worth of coverage. If it goes beyond 5 years, you're beyond the probabilities we want to deal with. Now comes other buckets within your portfolio. To look at the coverage, the MoneyGuard what Tony and I talked about doing is for those that are interested, do a little deeper dive and do a best practice on how Lincoln MoneyGuard is set up, for the return of premium. What's the payment options? Is there any other benefits that we structured? That we were going to do this on an additional call to try and keep this call around the 30-minute mark, and focus more on the best practices of looking at an illustration and talking about, here's your cash flow. Like in this example here, this is a client who we looked at qualified money and said, well, why not take money out of your IRA from age 65 to age 70 and build up what looks like a Roth lookalike healthcare account. So you're going to have to pay taxes in those first 5 years, but now when you're in retirement or you get to age, say, 83 and you need long-term care, we're not going in and having a taxable event of pulling out $73,000 or $97,000 and getting a 1099 on your IRA. We have a bucket of money that's available that comes out tax-free, but what we did is we just systematically pulled it out. And those are kind of the ideas Tony and I have been talking about on how we can better frame the conversation and look at the cash flow solution as we, again, do a little reverse engineering from what would be needed to give someone a real good sense of how they can create a better plan in their portfolio than just doing self-insurance. And so that would be a next call, maybe in January or early February, whenever it's convenient, to do a deeper dive on the MoneyGuard product from a standpoint of how to structure it, how to do this in a simplified manner, and how to look at the underwriting that we do and to get things in place. And then we can finish it up with, now that they have a MoneyGuard policy, let's talk about the concierge services that come with the MoneyGuard plan. That what you're doing here is now you're taking the MoneyGuard policy and you're saying, we have a policy that financially will protect you in your retirement, will provide the necessary funds. But now let's turn that policy into a plan, and let's talk about your care circle. Who is going to be your primary caregiver? Kind of finish the conversation on how this claim will look like, and get the family engaged. And that's what we offer to everyone who has a MoneyGuard policy, is what we call Silver Brick Road, which is a bank of information. It's a concierge services. Think of it almost like a Facebook technology to go with the MoneyGuard policy. And the reality is here, this is a client engagement tool that allows you to get more involved with the family by creating that care circle and becoming that education source, so that when there is a claim, that second job is lightened, it's lessened, but now you're supervising it and not necessarily being the caregiver in it. We have a lot of information that is available in our launch pad. I've highlighted that if you can take that down, but I'll send that over to Tony. When you click on it, you'll see white papers, a lot of information, the asset identifier, a way to help you start the conversation, which is a great way to finish. And that is, the product itself is just to get the conversation started. There are many options within your relationship at IAMS to work with. We cherish our opportunity to be a partner, a leading provider of the asset-based hybrid type coverage. We have made a MoneyGuard 3 launch to be compliant with PBR CSO tables. That product is now available. It looks very much like MoneyGuard 2, perhaps some changes, some enhancements on some of our riders that, again, we can get into on a next call. But please stop and take a look at what we have in our resource library. Tony, again, I apologize for the split screen there, but that would conclude my remarks for today.
No worries. Thanks. Okay, so let me switch this back over to me. And you can hear me, right?
I can.
Okay. All right. All right. So with that, I was going to ask if we have any additional questions, but prior to that, I am seeing a response saying that would like a follow-up by January 10th. So I'm going to check our webinar schedule for the month of January and see what we can do as far as doing a little bit more of a deep dive into that. Um, what I'd like to do first and foremost is I've got a polling question here regarding would you like more information on MoneyGuard. If you'd like to get additional information or you're looking to do more of a deep dive, if you could please answer this polling question, I will take that as you want more additional information as well as a deep dive. So that way we can see what the response is on that and see what if we can get something done fairly soon in January as far as an additional webinar. So I'm going to leave that up here for a few more seconds. So Alan, just so that you know, it looks like we are going to do a deeper dive because I got a lot of people that are saying yes.
Fantastic. Just let me know the schedule, and again, I think we'll use that as how to from a best practice standpoint, Tony, make it simple and understandable for the client and the connection that we can give to the MoneyGuard type solution.
Okay. All right. And let's see. All right. So got a few questions I want to answer here. First question is, who do we call at Lincoln to talk more about this product?
That would be myself or my internal Adam Bridgeforth. Tony, I can get you our contact information. In fact, I could send you an email that has our contact information with this Launchpad link that you could send out, and anybody that wants to reach out to us, we can help run illustrations or walk through any of the technical questions that might be associated with our solution.
Okay. All right. And I will also add to that, if you have any questions, feel free to give me a call as well, or any one of the life sales directors, and they'll be able to answer your questions. If we can't get the answer for you right away, we'll definitely reach out to Lincoln and get that answer for you.
And Tony, I certainly could provide Adam's phone number, but it's probably easier for me to send a link out.
Okay, sounds good. Next question. Can we get these slides? I'm assuming they're talking about the slides to your webinar, or to the webinar, the slides that you produced, I should say.
Yeah, there's probably a couple slides that I could condense it down and send it over to you.
Okay.
And like the asset identifier, it depends on what slide. I'd have to look at each one to see if I don't see that as a problem, but I just have to check with compliance, and there may be one or two that they say, no, that's only within your presentation, but some of the other ones are certainly available for general distribution here.
Okay. Why don't we do this?
So we'll work on it.
What you can put together that would be compliant, if you can get that over to me, I'll make sure that I get that out to those that are on the webinar. And then the second part of the question was also software to run the illustrations. I can answer that. As far as the software to run the illustrations, you'd first have to be appointed with Lincoln Financial to have access to the website. Correct me if I'm wrong, Alan.
Correct. You're correct.
Okay. So I'm going to get to that appointment process here in just a second. Okay, then I've got another question. Looks like they were looking to get more detail about the MoneyGuard plan. Yeah, we'll be doing a deeper dive in regards to your question on getting more into the MoneyGuard plan. That'll be something that we'll address in the next webinar. Okay, and are the white papers on the Lincoln website. Aren't the white papers going to be available on that link that you provided?
They will be, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's for in part two, for wanting some slides, you go to that link. We call it our launch pad. When people will ask, hey, can I get a copy of that? Whatever. What we've done is put it all on this link where basically you're able to download a women and LTC seminar, a general public seminar, or any of the white papers that we have published that gives the statistics, some of the stuff we talked about here. That link that I'll send over, Tony, I think it's very cool from a standpoint of it lets you choose what you want, and it's real time as far as getting it.
Okay.
And what I can do too is also highlight a couple, white papers that probably would be, worthwhile to take a look at, so that you can zero in on those as well. But yeah, that link for the MoneyGuard Launchpad is, basically accessing our whole resource library of all information, both stuff that's for the public and agent use only.
Okay. Now, do you have to be appointed to access that information when you go to that link?
No, you do not.
Okay. All right.
No, you do not. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That looks like that was the last question. So I just have one additional polling question out there. And give me just a second here. I need to close the last one. Sorry about that. And the last polling question is, would you like to get contracted with Lincoln Financial? I'm launching that now. And while I got this last polling question up, one final question for you. Alan, any license requirements to sell this product?
Depending on your state, generally it's having accident health, and then it's LTC CE. For example, living in Colorado, I know in order to sell long-term care or the MoneyGuard, there is a partnership CE that needs to be completed. There is a general CE that's needed. And Tony, I am more than happy to provide coupons that would allow that CE to be completed, that they basically go to Quest Track and complete that CE. But each state is a little bit different. Most states have reciprocity to it. California is a little different than what Colorado is, but it's typically getting some CE in the LTC area to go with your life and accident and health license. And Tony, I'm happy to give I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, but I wanted to be specific on something. You do have to have a life and health license, correct?
Yes.
I've run into that question before. Just wanted to make sure that everyone knows that it has to be life and health.
Yes. And, I can give my phone number here as the external wholesaler in the field and supporting your business. If someone wants to talk through a case, get more specific, one-on-one versus our next webinar, but also, hey, where am I in licensing? Or maybe I was appointed with Lincoln before. I can call our licensing area and be very exact on, hey, your 4 hours in Arkansas is recognized, you're good to go. So I'm happy to provide my number here for a one-on-one type of conversation on product and or licensing to help anyone out. And that number is 303-709-2721. 303-709-2721.
Awesome. And this is the absolute final question. What about Florida? Is it available in Florida?
Yes, it is. Product is available everywhere except New York, but we'll have a soft launch of our new PBR CSO compliant product in middle January. This has been a state that's been a little bit challenging to get the new MoneyGuard 3 product launched in, but we are available in all states, and with the exception, as I mentioned, on New York. So ready and able to help with your long-term care planning efforts.
Okay, and with that, Alan, I want to thank you for taking the time out to go over this. I want to thank all the agents for attending the webinar. Once I get additional information, I'll be sure to follow up with everyone, and those of you that do want additional information, I will make sure to get that out to you. And as we talked about, we'll do a deeper dive in this first of the year. We'll just look for an open date to do that and make sure that we get that invite out to everyone. Alan, you have anything?
No, just happy holidays, everybody. Thank you again for your time. And Tony, a special thanks to you for inviting me in, and certainly look to continue to expand our partnership and efforts with you and your clients.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Everybody have a happy and safe holidays, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Tony.
Bye.